Before we begin, take a moment to get comfortable. Let your arms go heavy, your breath slow. And as you listen, feel free to leave a comment sharing what time it is, where you are, and what city or village you're listening from. It's love to know. And if you'd like more quiet stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe so they gently appear when you need them most. Now, let's begin. Close your eyes and listen. There is a rhythm inside you, quiet ticking, not made of gears or glass or glowing numbers, but something softer, more ancient. Your chest rises. Your chest falls. Each breath counts a moment, and somewhere, just beneath your awareness, your heart beats. It doesn't ask for your attention. It just continues. Okay. One beat after another, like footsteps walking through time. You are not alone in this. Every living thing moves by rhythm. A tree stretches toward the sun, not just by instinct, but by time. Each leaf, each route, each gentle lean toward light is a quiet answer to a clock it cannot see. And your body is no different. You carry within you dozens of clocks. Some tick quickly like the neurons firing in your brain. Tick slowly like the cycle of waking and sleep. And all of them, in their own quiet way, are keeping time. Even your cells know the hour. There are molecules in your brain that change shape with the sun. Hormones that whisper good morning to your bloodstream. Signals that lower your temperature while you sleep. A slow dance of chemistry that keeps your days feeling like days and your nights like night. You are, in a very real sense, a living calendar. This clock inside you is called the circadian rhythm. From the Latin circa meaning around and d meaning day. It is not just about when you sleep, it's about how you move through time itself. At dawn, your body begins to stir, even before your eyes open. Your blood pressure rises slightly. Your brain becomes more alert. Your temperature begins to climb. By midday, you are sharpest. Thoughts come quicker. Reaction times are faster. Muscles feel more ready. As evening nears, the rhythm softens. Melatonin seeps in like mist. Your pulse slows, and the curtain of sleep begins to lower, one invisible fold at a time. This cycle repeats, not because of habit, but because of nature. Deep in the brain, in a region no bigger than a grain of rice, there's a structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a name you don't need to remember, but a function you live by. It receives signals from your eyes, light and dark, day and night, and uses them to reset your inner time. When morning light touches your face, it tells your body, wake. When dusk returns, it whispers, rest. And even if you lived underground for weeks without sun or sky, your rhythm would still continue, slightly imperfect, slightly drifting, but still there, because your clock is not just a reflection of the sun, it is something older. A memory passed down through biology, etched into the chemistry of every living thing. Your gut has its own timing. Your liver knows when to clean the blood. Your muscles understand when to prepare for movement. Everything is coordinated, not with bells, but with whispers. And yet, these whispers can be disrupted. When you travel across time zones, your internal clock stumbles. You feel foggy, detached, as if your body is lagging behind your mind. That's called jet lag. But in truth, it's time lag. Your cells are trying to catch up with the world around them, even artificial light. The glow of a screen before sleep can shift your rhythm. Okay. It tricks your brain into thinking it's still day. It delays melatonin, softens the darkness that tells you to let go. You begin to notice something, don't you? Time is not just something that happens around you, it happens inside you. It is not only counted in seconds, but in feelings. You feel the difference between morning and midnight, between wakefulness and fatigue, between hunger and fullness, focus and fog. These feelings are how your body keeps time. It's not with numbers, but with changes. Time is felt, not just measured. You don't need a watch to know you're tired. You don't need a clock to feel hungry. You don't need a calendar to recognize that your thoughts are slower in the evening than they are in the bright urgency of morning. And that brings us to a curious idea that your body's time may not always match the universe's time. On Earth, we define a second as the vibration of a certain atom. But what if the atoms inside your body keep slightly different time? What if you are living on your own internal version of the cosmos? You feel this sometimes on quiet afternoons, when hours slip by unnoticed, or during restless nights when minutes stretch endlessly. Time bends inside you, not because the laws of physics are broken, but because you are not a machine. You are water and breath and memory. You stretch and contract with tides of emotion, with tides of light. Even your sense of now is elastic. The moment you read this sentence has already passed, and yet you're still inside it, still feeling it. That's the wonder of perception. You are a clock that breathes, and as you drift into sleep, you might wonder if time flows through you like a river. Then what is the shore? Where do you begin, and where does the world end? The answer is gentler than you expect. You are the river, and the shore, and the boat that drifts between them. Everything inside you, every breath, every heartbeat, every blink, is part of a grander rhythm. A rhythm that connects you to the trees, to the stars, to the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. Because even the galaxies move in rhythm. They spin, they expand, they breathe. Time isn't a clock ticking somewhere in space. It's a movement that lives in everything, from the smallest particle to the vastest sky in your body. Small though it is not separate from that sky. You carry its rhythm, its unfolding, its grace. You are made of stardust, but you're also made of time. And as you settle deeper into stillness, you can feel it more clearly. The slow ticking of your breath, soft turn of your thoughts. It's the fading light behind your eyes. Not a countdown, not a deadline, just rhythm, just motion. It's the clock inside your body, reminding you that you're a part of something vast and endlessly unfolding. And somewhere out there, that rhythm continues. It's in ways we're only beginning to understand. Time is one of the few things you've never seen, yet it follows you everywhere. It's in your breath as you exhale. It's in your childhood photos. It's in the quiet way your body changes, slowly, softly, while you aren't looking. You feel it in the mirror. You feel it in memory. You feel it in the ache of missing someone, in the hush of waiting for something to arrive. But what is it? Is it a line you walk along? A river that carries you without your consent? Or is it just an illusion, a way your mind makes sense of change? You live each day assuming time exists, but pause for a moment and try to point to it, try to find it on the floor or behind the sky. Try to hold it in your hand. You can't, and yet it rules your life. You wake when the clock tells you. You eat when the clock tells you. You go to work or rest or celebrate, all because of time. You celebrate birthdays. You remember anniversaries. You mark your life in rings, like a tree. But what if time is not a thing, but a pattern of motion, of cause and effect, one event following another, like beats on a string. Without change, there is no time. If everything stopped, no light, no movement, no thought, would there still be time? Or would the universe simply be paused? This is a question physicists still ask, because the strange thing is, many of the laws that describe the universe don't actually need time to exist. They work in both directions. A planet orbiting a star could just as easily orbit backward. K, particle could move forward or reverse. K, the math still works. But your experience is different. You don't live inside math. K, you live inside moments. To you, time feels like a direction. The cup falls. It shatters, but the pieces never leap back into form. Your tea cools, but it never heats up on its own. This direction is called the arrow of time. It might not come from time itself, but from entropy. Entropy is the measure of disorder, and the universe tends to move from ordered states to disordered ones. That's why your memories are in the past. That's why you age forward. That's why the story always moves ahead. Time, then, may be a story told by the spreading of disorder. But disorder isn't always bad. It's simply movement. It's the way energy spreads, the way things change, the way possibility becomes reality. Without it, there would be no life, no stars, no breath. So maybe time isn't a tyrant. Maybe it's a gentle permission, an invitation to change, to grow, to become. Still, physicists have tried to define it more precisely. They needed something measurable, something repeatable. So they created a second. 1 second is defined by the vibration of a cesium atom. 9,192,631,770 times. This doesn't feel poetic, but it works. It gives us clocks and calendars and schedules. It lets GPS satellites guide you and let your phone know the difference between now and a minute from now. But this is just how we measure time, not what time is. Imagine this. You're floating in space. No clocks, no sun, no seasons, just stars blinking far away. Would you still feel time? Would you age? Would your thoughts still unfold? Would you feel your body pulse with memory? Probably. Yes, because time is inside you as much as it is outside. And yet, your experience of it can shift wildly. You've felt it, haven't you? In moments of joy, time seems to vanish. Hour passes like a breath. But in grief or fear, a single second can stretch into an ocean of waiting. Your perception of time is deeply tied to your emotion. Scientists studying the brain have found that dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to reward, can alter your sense of time speed. When you're anticipating something, time may slow down. When you're deeply immersed in something you love, time may speed up. Time, then, is not just physics. It's also feeling, and your brain is not a neutral observer of time. It creates time. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain that forms memories, actually changes how you feel time passing. When your days are full of new experiences, your memory is dense, and the time feels long in retrospect. But when days blur, when routines repeat, your memory is sparse, and time feels short, as if it disappeared. This might explain why childhood summers felt endless, and adult weeks vanish without a trace. Time is not one river, it is many, and your mind can wade into different ones, depending on your mood, your focus, your surroundings. Even cultures view time differently. Some languages describe the future as behind them, because it is unknown. The past as in front, because it is visible, remembered. Others see time not as a line, but as a circle, a loop of seasons, of ancestors returning in children, of days repeating like tides. There is no single way to understand time, because time is not a thing you can grab or observe. It's more like a relationship between things, between cause and effect, between motion and stillness, between what was and what will be. Some physicists now ask, could time be emergent? Could it be that time is not fundamental, not baked into the universe, but something that arises when particles interact, when complexity emerges? Maybe time appears the way music appears when notes are played in sequence. The notes aren't time, but together they create a rhythm. Could the universe be playing such a rhythm? And could you be part of its song? This is hard to imagine, but that's the beauty of time. It stretches your mind as much as it stretches your life, because time is not just outside you. It is also in the way you tell your story. You were once a child, then a teenager, then an adult, but those aren't just stages. They are versions of you, woven together by memory, and memory, too, is time. Each thought of the past is a kind of time travel, a gentle echo, a replay, not perfect, but meaningful. And so, you live in layers. In now, in before, in after. Even your dreams are stitched from scraps of time. You wake up not in the present, but in a river of associations that stretch backward and forward through everything you felt. This is not fiction. Hey, it is the physics of being human. It is the poetry of perception. And as your breath slows now, as you settle into stillness, you begin to sense something deeper, that maybe time is not moving. Maybe you are. Like a flashlight moving across a painting, your consciousness lights up different moments, one by one, given the illusion of flow. But the painting was always there. Perhaps time doesn't flow forward. Perhaps it just is. You are the traveler gently passing through it. And in that quiet possibility, a new question begins to form. If time began, then what came before it? And if time had a first, second, what was the universe like before time ticked once? Is where we go next, to the moment the ticking began. Imagine a night so still it has no sound, no wind, no breath, no heartbeat, no pulse, not even silence, because silence needs time to pass. Only a blank, endless nothing. No color, no darkness, no space, no time, no beginning, because beginnings come after. No end, because endings require something to end. Now imagine, in that endless non-existence, a spark, not a spark of light, not a spark of sound, but a spark of possibility. The Big Bang is often described as an explosion, but that's not quite right, It wasn't a blast inside empty space. It was the birth of space, and along with it, it's the birth of time before. The Big Bang, there was no before. Not because it's hard to imagine, but because the very idea of before did not exist. Time had not yet unfolded. There was no ticking, no sequence, no earlier, no later. Just the strange, timeless potential for something to be. Then suddenly, something was, from a point smaller than a particle. The universe expanded, not slowly, not gently, but in a burst so fast it makes the word explosion feel too calm. In less than a trillionth of a second, space inflated outward. And with that motion, time began. You can almost hear it. A first pulse, a soft click, a cosmic heartbeat, echoing into everything scientists call this moment the Planck time. It's the shortest possible unit of time that still makes sense, about 10 seconds. Anything smaller than that, and the laws of physics melted, is in this sliver of a second that time as we know it is believed to have taken its first breath. But how can time have a beginning? You might imagine time as a rope, and the Big Bang as its knot. Before the knot, the rope is loose, undefined, unspun. But once tied, the rope begins to stretch out, woven with events, moments, changes, motion. Or think of time as a canvas. Big Bang dipped the first brush into paint, and motion began to write itself. This birth of time is not just theory. We can see its echo. It's all around us, in every direction, is a faint glow left over from that first moment, a relic known as the cosmic microwave background. It is the oldest light in the universe, soft and stretched by 13.8 billion years of travel. Not light like a flashlight, but more like a whisper that's taken all of time to reach you. That whisper tells a story. The universe had a beginning, and in that beginning, time itself was born. You can feel that story in the bones of things, in the way stars burn through their lives, in the way galaxies drift like pollen across the dark, in the way your own life moves from breath to breath. Each moment you live is a continuation of that. First, second. Now, consider this. In the first microseconds of the universe, the forces that shape everything, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, had not yet split apart. They were fused into a kind of cosmic unity. No past, no future. Only a strange, dense, radiant. Now, as the universe cooled, those forces separated like threads being pulled from a knot. And as they untangled, they created structure, quarks, then protons, then atoms, then stars, and planets, and people, all unfolding along the newly woven fabric of time. And yet, even now, we don't fully understand how time began. Our equations break at the Big Bang. They work perfectly after that moment, but not at it. It's as if time itself hides its own birth behind a curtain of knowability. Some theories suggest the Big Bang wasn't the beginning, just a bounce, a rebirth from a previous collapse, okay? An echo from a universe before ours. If that's true, then perhaps time has no true beginning, just a rhythm of rising and falling, like tides beyond memory. Other ideas suggest our universe is just one bubble in a foam of infinite others, each with its own version of time. Okay, and maybe in some other bubble, time runs sideways, or loops, or it doesn't exist at all. But no matter the model, one truth remains. The moment time began, everything changed, because before time, there could be no change, and without change, there is no story. And you, like everything else that exists, are a story unfolding. A ripple in the stream that began at that very first second. That ripple passed from atom to star, from dust to cell, from ancestor to you. Your hands, your voice, your thoughts, all part of the same wave that began when time was born. You're not separate from that beginning. You are that beginning, just in a new shape, a new moment, a new breath. Even now, as you rest and breathe, your cells pulse in rhythms set long before you were born. They follow the drumbeat of time's unfolding. Your heart beats, your lungs rise and fall. Your thoughts arrive in quiet trails. You are not just in time. You are made of time, and somewhere in the farthest reaches of the universe, galaxies still drift from that first expansion, each one moving farther and farther away, carrying with them the ancient breath of the moment everything began. But here's the most humbling thought. That first second, the one that birthed time itself, is still with you. Because time doesn't leave. It layers. It builds like sediment beneath the sea. And you are walking on the latest layer of something ancient, canned, ongoing. Which brings us to the next mystery. If time was born with the universe, if it emerged from motion and matter and light, then how do we measure it now? What makes 1 second real and another fleeting? Next, we explore the quiet mechanics of how humans carved time into moments, and how each tick of the clock is a kind of illusion we've agreed to believe. Time is invisible, but you feel it moving, the tap of your fingers, in the stretch of your yawn. In the soft way, your body leans toward sleep as day begins to melt into night. And yet, you cannot hold time. You cannot scoop it into your hands. You cannot fold it up like a note or pour it out like water. So instead, you measure it. You try to catch it, to mark it, say, this is now and this was just before. But how? How do you measure something that has no weight, no shape, no sound? Once, long ago, people looked to the sky. They watched shadows shift across stone. The sun moved across the heavens. The moon waxed and waned. Stars returned like familiar stories. They built sundials, simple tools, elegant in their patience. Stick in the ground, a stone beside it. They didn't count seconds or minutes. They followed the rhythm of light. Time, then, was circular. It was the rise and fall of brightness. The closing of flowers, the hunger of animals, the sighing of wind before winter. But life grew more complex. Trade needed schedules. Worship needed calendars. Labor needed division. So time was carved. 1 day was split into hours, then hours into minutes, 2 minutes into seconds, each one smaller, more precise, more demanding. Still, those seconds weren't real things. They were agreements. They were promises written into gears and bells. People built water clocks, the mechanical ones, tiny teeth and springs that mimicked the turning earth. And yet, every clock was really just a dream of order in a universe that flows like mist, until one day, humans turn to light. Atomic clocks do not tick, they hum. They sing a note so constant, so pure, that it defines what a second is. You see, at the heart of every atom are electrons, and these electrons can jump, not with legs, but with energy. When an electron in a cesium atom jumps from one state to another, it emits a precise frequency of radiation. That frequency never changes. Exactly 9,192,631,770 of those tiny oscillations make one official second. That's the heartbeat of your world now. Not the sun, not the moon, but the hidden thrum of an atom. And so, every GPS satellite, every digital clock, every phone in your pocket dances to the silent rhythm of cesium. You live by that invisible drum. But even with this precision, second remains a strange thing, because it doesn't exist outside of context. A second is only meaningful because something changes during it. A note fades, a leaf falls, a thought forms. Without change, time has no texture. And so, you live your life not in seconds, but in moments. Moments, shaped by meaning, not by math. A second, watching a loved one smile, feels longer than 10 seconds waiting in line. A taint under stars can stretch while a meeting blinks past in a blur. Time bends to emotion. It stretches to perception and answers, not just to clocks, but to consciousness. And this brings us to something deeper. You do not just measure time. You create it in your mind. Your brain is a timekeeper. It predicts the future with each heartbeat. It remembers the past in layered detail. It filters the present into a continuous sense of now. Inside your brain, a region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus acts like a conductor, orchestrating circadian rhythms, regulating sleep, alertness, hunger, even mood. It uses light from your eyes to reset its rhythm each day. This is why morning feels different, why twilight makes you drowsy, why night wraps you in its slow, dissolving music. But your brain also has smaller clocks, neural circuits that measure milliseconds, that let you clap in rhythm, catch a falling glass, finish someone's sentence, just as they speak it. These inner clocks don't count vibrations. They sense intervals. They learn from patterns. They feel time in motion. And when something interrupts the rhythm, trauma, illness, deep emotion, your sense of time can falter. Minutes feel like hours. Years feel like moments. You fall out of sync with the world's metronome. Still, you try to measure. You write birthdays on calendars. You set alarms. You count down. You hold anniversaries like sacred beads. You try, in all your ways, to pin down the breeze. But time is more than motion. It is memory. It is expectation. It is story. And stories don't live in numbers. They live in breath, in voice, in shared silence. So you must ask, do you live by the second, or do you live by the moment? There is a difference, okay? And your body knows it. A clock tells you when to eat, okay? But hunger tells you why. A schedule says it's bedtime, but tired eyes tell you when. A second can be measured. A moment must be felt. And so you drift from one unmeasurable moment to the next, through days and nights, through ages and eras. All the while, light continues to travel. Atoms continue to hum, and time continues to stretch, just enough for the universe to breathe again. Which brings us to a curious thought. What if time doesn't move evenly at all? What if, depending on where you are, time stretches or shrinks? What if your seconds are longer at the top of a mountain than at its base? Because in the next chapter, a gift from Einstein awaits one that teaches us that time is not rigid, it's not fixed, not absolute. Time, like you, can bend. You sit in stillness now. Maybe your breath has softened. Maybe the room around you is dim, and the clock ticks somewhere gently out of view. And in that soft quiet, you assume time flows the same for everyone. But a DOES is single quotes, T, time, you see, has a strange flexibility, a subtle elasticity. It can bend, warp, slow down, even twist in on itself. And the one who first pulled back the curtain, who showed the world that time was not fixed, was a quiet man with wild hair and a mind that saw the world through light. Albert Einstein. Before Einstein, time was thought to be absolute. A second was a second, no matter where you were. But Einstein saw something different. He saw that time was not independent. It was bound to space, woven into the fabric of reality like thread into cloth. He gave us a gift, a new way to see the universe, SPACETIME. It's not just space, not just time, but both, together, inseparable, bending and stretching as one. Imagine a rubber sheet, smooth and taut. That's space-time when it's undisturbed. Now place a bowling ball on it. The sheet curves under its weight. That curve is gravity, but it also affects time. The closer you are to a heavy object, a planet, a star, a black hole, the slower time moves for you. This idea is called gravitational time dilation. It sounds complex, but its rhythm is simple. Where gravity is strong, time slows down. You feel this, faintly, even on Earth. At the top of a mountain, time ticks just a little faster than it does at sea level. Not enough for you to notice, but enough for a satellite to care. In fact, GPS satellites orbiting Earth have to adjust their clocks every day to account for the stretching of time. Otherwise, your phone's location will be off by miles just because time moved a little differently above your head. Einstein also discovered another strange truth. Motion changes time, too. When you move quickly, especially close to the speed of light, your time slows down compared to someone who stays still. This is called special relativity. It means that if you were to board a spaceship, travel near light speed, time would pass more slowly for you than for those you left behind. You might return to find that they've aged decades while you've aged only years. It's not science fiction. It's been tested in one famous experiment. Scientists flew highly accurate atomic clocks on airplanes around the globe. When they returned, the airborne clocks were ever so slightly behind the clocks that had remained on Earth. Time had stretched for the travelers. This isn't just theory, it's reality. You live in a universe where time is not the same everywhere. It flows like a river, slower in deep valleys, faster on high ground, meandering and shifting as space curves. Now, pause for a moment and imagine yourself drifting near a massive planet. Its gravity tugs, not just on your body, but on time itself. Seconds stretch. Minutes linger. Your watch ticks slower, though it feels normal to you. But if someone were watching you from far away, from a place where gravity was weak, they'd see you moving like molasses. Your arms would rise slowly. Your breath would take longer. To them, your world is in slow motion. To you, it's perfectly normal. This is the essence of relativity. Time is not one universal pulse. It's a local rhythm, personal, relative, and yet you never feel it. You trust clocks. You make appointments. You say, I'll see you at 3, and believe that 3 o'clock is the same for everyone. But beneath that illusion is a pliable world, a place where time can be molded by speed. En masse, why does this matter? Because it means that time is not an independent backdrop. It's part of the stage. The stage itself can move. It can ripple. It can even tear. And in those distortions caused by stars, motion, or even your own position, the flow of time is altered. Here's something beautiful. Einstein's equations predicted all this long before we could measure it. He saw, through mathematics and imagination, that the universe was more supple than anyone had dared to believe. He gave us a way to picture time not as a constant, but as something organic, living, breathing, stretching with gravity, swaying with motion. And once you see it, you start to notice how deeply that idea changes everything. The satellite above your house, ticking slightly faster. The astronaut in orbit, aging a touch more slowly. The twin who flies through space, returning to find an older brother. These are not dreams. We are experiments, realities, truths hidden in plain sight. Even the GPS in your phone is a daily expression of Einstein's time. And you are made of time. Your heart beats to it. Your cells divide by it. Your memories stretch across it like stars across the sky. But that sky itself is bending. That fabric is shifting. And that brings you to a question. If time can stretch, can it stop? Can it slow to such a crawl that it becomes silence? The answer waits in darkness, because where Einstein's mind truly drifted next, where his vision began to soften into mystery, was toward the edge of collapse, toward something even stranger, the black hole, where time loses meaning altogether. And in that place, you must ask not just how time moves, but if it can ever move again. That journey is just beginning. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a quiet morning. Sunlight touches your skin through the window. The air is still, and everything feels familiar. You live in this rhythm. Your breath, your heartbeat, the soft hum of life all around. Now imagine, you have a twin. You share the same birthday, the same smile, the same childhood memories tucked away like pressed flowers. And then, one day, your twin leaves, not by train or car, but by a spacecraft that hums through the silence of space at nearly the speed of light. The earth spins on. You grow older. You wait and watch and age. Decades pass, and then your twin returns, still young, still full of time that somehow didn't pass. His face is smoother, his eyes unchanged. Yours are marked by years. This is not a thought experiment. This is time dilation, the reality of Einstein's special relativity. When you move quickly enough, especially at speeds nearing light, time doesn't flow the way you think it should. It slows down. Not for, to you, everything feels normal. You blink, you breathe, you dream. But to someone watching from a slower frame of reference, someone like your twin left behind, you are moving through time more gently. This is the twin paradox. It's one of the most poetic truths in physics. Not because it's impossible, but because it reveals something deeply emotional about how time touches each of us differently. Let's walk through it slowly. Gently. You and your twin are both 20 years old. You stay on Earth, working in a garden, aging in sunlight and rain. Your twin climbs into a sleek ship and leaves the atmosphere, traveling at 99% the speed of light to a distant star and back, because of how motion affects time. The ship's clock ticks slower. On board, your twin may only experience a few years, let's say 5, but on Earth perhaps 50 years pass. When he returns, you are 70, and he is 25. You've become an old photograph, creased with time, and he is still the boy who left. Why? Because at high velocities, space and time are not fixed. They bend together. A clock moving near the speed of light ticks more slowly relative to one at rest. And so his journey was real. But it happened within a stretched version of time. There is no trick, no violation of the rules. It's just a new kind of truth. This story has been tested. Not with humans traveling to stars. Not yet. But with particles, and with clocks, and with deep trust in math that bends space. Scientists have taken atomic clocks, the most precise we have, and flown them on jets. When they landed, the flying clocks were behind, only by a fraction of a second, but behind nonetheless. And particles that live for only a brief flash, mere microseconds, survive longer when accelerated to near light speeds in laboratories. Time slows for them, too. It's not just a theory, it's nature. You might ask, if time can do this, then what is it really? Is it just motion? Is it just the rhythm of atoms? Is it a property of space, or something that lives in perception? We don't fully know. But we know this. You and your twin can experience different spans of time and still return to the same moment. That means time is not a shared blanket. It is more like a woven web, tugged and stretched by gravity and speed in the twin paradox. The paradox is only on the surface. You might think, if motion is relative, why isn't the Earth twin the one who's younger? But the answer lies in acceleration. The traveling twin changes direction, experiences force, leaves and returns. That difference, the turning, the braking, breaks the symmetry. So it's not just velocity, but the path taken through space-time. A path can be long and gentle, or short and quick. Both are valid. Both are real, but they leave behind different traces. You can feel this in your own life, in small, poetic ways. You felt how time passes differently when you're rushing through a day, versus when you sit still and listen to the rain. You've watched a child grow and felt like it happened in a blink. You've waited in the hospital and felt the hours turn to stone. Time stretches when it matters most. Time folds inward when you're falling in love, or grieving, or simply waiting. The twin paradox tells us that those feelings aren't only poetic. They hint at something deeper. Time, as we experience it, is both absolute and personal, both measurable and mysterious. If your twin were real, if you stood beside him now, one face worn by decades, the other untouched by time, what would you feel? Would you envy him? Would you grieve the years apart? Would you realize, in a sudden hush, that even though he aged less, he also missed your life? He missed the birthdays, the snowfalls, the laughter, and the changing of seasons. And so, in a strange way, he is younger. But you are richer in memory. Time stretched for him, but life stretched for you. Maybe that's the quiet truth hidden in Einstein's gift. That time isn't just what ticks on the clock. It's what makes experience, what shapes memory, what adds meaning to waiting, what gives depth to presence. So while a twin may return younger, 10 physics may write it in formulas. Your story is more than seconds. It is shaped by how deeply you lived, the ones you had, and even in a universe where time can bend and flex, it is still the thread that binds us. You may never fly at light speed, but every day you walk your own path through time, and that path is yours alone. Now, drift back to that stillness where this began. Imagine once more the window, the quiet room, the ticking clock somewhere out of sight, and wonder if time can stretch between. Brothers, if it can shift with motion and mass. What happens when it slows near the earth itself? What happens when the mountain stands tall and the ocean lies low? That's where we go next. You wake in a quiet cabin nestled in the hills. Outside, mist rolled softly over pine trees. The light is pale, gentle, and slow. A clock ticks somewhere steady, familiar, but it's not the only rhythm in the world. Time, you've always believed, is fixed. A second is a second. A minute is a minute. But here, high above the sea, something begins to shift. Not in a way you can feel, not with your breath or your heartbeat, but in a deeper current, one that hums beneath your awareness. Time is not the same everywhere on earth. You climb to the mountaintop, and time moves just a touch faster. You descend into a deep mine, and it slows, as if gravity tugs at the second hand and holds it gently back. This is not fiction. It is measurable. Precise atomic clocks, our finest tools for catching time, have confirmed it. At high altitudes, farther from the Earth's center, gravity has less hold, and where gravity weakens, time relaxes. Down below, where gravity presses harder, seconds are denser. They gather more tightly. They take just a little longer to pass. This is general relativity, Einstein's other great gift to time. You've already learned that speed stretches time. Now, you see that gravity bends it. Imagine the Earth as a great ball wrapped in invisible threads. These threads, space and time, are pulled in by the planet's mass. The closer you are to the center, the more tightly the threads are drawn, and so time flows more slowly. It's not dramatic. You won't feel younger on the mountain or older in the basement. But if you lived your whole life at the top of a tower and your twin lived below, your clocks would slowly drift apart. You'd gain nanoseconds. Invisible, yes, but real. In 2010, scientists at the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology measured this effect. They placed two atomic clocks, one just 30 centimeters above the other. The higher clock ticked faster by a trillionth of a second, but faster nonetheless. Now imagine GPS satellites orbiting far above you, circling the Earth in high-altitude paths. Each carries a precise atomic clock. And because they are farther from Earth's gravity, their time runs faster than ours below. If we didn't account for that, if we ignored the way time stretches above, GPS would drift by kilometers each day. Your maps would fail. Planes would veer. The world would lose its bearings. And so, relativity isn't just an idea. It is a correction your phone makes. Every time you find your way, you're not only navigating space, but layered to time. Sit with that for a moment. Even within the skin of one planet, time flows in layers. Not uniform, not flat, but sculpted by gravity, by position, by the silent shape of space itself. You can't feel this shift, but your atoms know. Their clocks, their vibrations, their delicate songs hum in tune with the gravity around them. And so your very body keeps local time, Earth time, without ever knowing it. You are stitched into space, held gently by an invisible slope that curves through every forest, every ocean, every quiet room beneath the stars. Now imagine the center of the Earth, a place you'll never see, but which tugs at you every day. It is dense, hot, and ancient time. There moves slower still. A clock at the Earth's core. Were it possible to place one, would lag behind a surface clock by years over the life of the planet. A geological heartbeat moving just a little more slowly than the one above. And so, even the Earth's memory is layered in time. Sediment laid down at different speeds. Fossils aging at fractions of fractions. Lava cooling in its own quiet clockwork. All of it synchronized in a strange ballet of gravitational rhythm. Now, think again of a mountain, not just a rise in stone, the high altar of accelerated time, a peak where the air is thin, but the seconds are just a little more generous. Every time you walk uphill, you gain time, microscopic time, trivial, perhaps, but real. And if you spend your life climbing mountains, your wristwatch would disagree with the one you left at sea. Not enough to change your life, enough to remind you that even your reality is shaped by where you stand. This effect, gravitational time dilation, isn't science fiction. Science is soft truth. It whispers that time isn't one stream, but many tributaries, flowing at different speeds, converging and diverging as mass and motion shape the terrain. You may ask, does this mean we can escape time? No, but it means time is more flexible than you once believed, more like a fabric than a drumbeat, more like a slope than a straight path. It means time is responsive. It listens to where you are. It adapts to how fast you move, how deep you sink, how far you climb. That in this, time is alive, not in the way a bird is alive or a tree, but in the way wind is alive, moving with conditions. It's changing its speed and shape depending on what it touches. And so, you lie in your cabin, tucked into the quiet belly of a mountain, and time trickles just a little slower. Outside, the wind sighs through the pines. Snow settles on the roof like dust. And somewhere below you, deep in the earth, an older second ticks more slowly still. Time moves at your feet and above your head. It flows like mist, clinging to shape, to stone, to stillness. And you are a ripple in this gravitational. See, you are a clock in a field of invisible clocks, each ticking at its own pace, each marking a slightly different version of now. This is the quiet miracle that even something as constant as time can be shaped by the place you call home. And when you think of time again, don't think only of calendars and alarm bells. Think of stone. Think of sea level. Think of altitude and mass and the way your body hums in the key of gravity. Because when you rise, even a little, you rise through time. And when you sink, you descend through thicker, slower seconds. Now imagine going beyond. What if gravity became overwhelming? Okay. What if space curved so deeply that time barely moved at all? What if you stood near a black hole and watched the universe pass while your own clock nearly stopped? That is where we are going next. Next, you are falling. Not fast, not loud. It's endlessly, weightlessly, inward. Not toward a wall or a floor, but into something else entirely. This is not like falling from a bed, or a cliff, or even through the sky. This is falling toward a black hole, a place where gravity has grown so strong, so impossibly dense, that it no longer holds space the way planets do. It folds it, bends it, breaks it, and with space, it warps time. Black holes are not just places, they are events. Boundaries in the universe where the rules you know begin to fray. You don't need to understand every formula. You only need to imagine a clock. Picture that clock strapped to your wrist as you drift near the edge of a black hole, what scientists call the event horizon. From your perspective, your clock ticks normally. Your heart beats its usual rhythm. Time feels intact, but to someone far away, watching from a distance, your clock slows, your heartbeat drags, your fall appears frozen. You become a statue at the edge of time. From their view, you never quite cross the horizon. You fade, you dim, you vanish into slowness time, and their world continues. But your time, stops. This is gravitational time dilation taken to its extreme, where gravity is strong, time moves slow. Near a black hole, time nearly halts if you could hover there. Suspended at the very lip of the event horizon, you would see the universe race forward. Stars aging, galaxies drifting, the cosmos accelerating through eons while you remain in a single breath. But you wouldn't survive such a place, not because of some crushing force, but because reality itself begins to split. Black holes form when massive stars collapse, not just into themselves, but beyond themselves. They fall inward until they become a single point of infinite density, a singularity, a place where our math fails, where even light cannot escape. And if light cannot escape, then neither can time, not in the way we understand it. Imagine being caught in a rainstorm that suddenly freezes mid-air, drops, suspended, unfalling, your body unmoving, your thoughts stilled. That's the feeling time has at the edge of a black hole. Now think of the photons, the tiny particles of light that carry messages across the cosmos. They cannot climb out of this gravity well. They try, but they spiral inward, caught like whispers that never leave a sealed room. That's why black holes are black. It's not because they're painted darkness, but because they do not let light return. No light, no sound, no information escapes. What falls in, stays in, even time itself. Inside the event horizon, the structure of space-time twists. You fall, not through space, but through time itself, toward the singularity. In that place, all directions point inward, even the future. There is no out anymore, only in. It's a strange prison, not made of walls or locks, but of reality bending back on itself. And yet, black holes are not monsters. They are natural. They live at the centers of galaxies. Some are born from stars, others from the gathering of matter. Over eons they feed, yes, but they also shape. Their gravity sculpts the dance of stars. They organize orbits, regulate clusters, in a way. Black holes are the anchors of galactic life, but they are also the most mysterious mirrors we've ever found, because what happens to time inside them is still not fully understood. Some theories say that once you cross the event horizon, time and space trade roles, that your future becomes falling, your fate sealed not by choice, but by the very shape of the universe. Others propose that singularities may be bridges, portals to other regions of space-time, wormholes, gateways, passages carved through time's fabric. No one knows, because no signal has ever returned. No ship, no scream, no photon. Black holes are boundaries not just of space, but of knowledge. They guard their secrets in perfect silence, and yet we know they exist. We see stars orbiting something invisible. We see X-rays flaring when matter is torn apart near their edges. And in 2019, we saw a shadow. The Event Horizon Telescope, a network of observatories spanning the globe, captured the silhouette of a supermassive black hole in the heart of galaxy M87, a ring of light, bent by gravity, surrounding a dark core, a photograph of an absence, a portrait of time trapped. It was not a clear picture, not like a photo of a face or a flower, but it was enough to say, this is real. Time can freeze, light can vanish, and the universe is stranger than we ever imagined. As you listen, know that these black holes still live and move, attains of them, some small, some massive. One even waits in the center of your own galaxy, some Milky Way. Its name is Sagittarius A*. It's quiet now, dormant, not feeding, just waiting, not malicious. It's just a consequence of gravity taken to its final note. And if a clock were to fall into it, it would slow, then stop. Not smashed or burned, but silenced. A hush so complete, even time does not survive it. And yet, there's a beauty to this dot. Not terror, but wonder. The idea that time is not absolute, that it can be bent, stretched, or even stilled. That the universe holds places where the rules pause, where mystery breathes, as you rest here, wrapped in your blanket, listening to the quiet beat of your own heart. Remember that you are far from the edge of a black hole, but not far from its lesson. Time is not what it seems. It is not firm. It's not final. It is gentle, vulnerable, changeable, and maybe it's not even the deepest truth. Because if time can stop, what then continues? Perhaps something does. Perhaps there's a layer beneath the ticking, stillness, a presence, a silence that endures even when seconds don't. And if time can halt, then maybe it can reverse, or fold, or shimmer, which brings us softly, gently, to a question that's been whispering through this entire journey. Why does time only move one way? And what would it mean if that arrow could break? The morning begins with warmth in your hands, a mug filled with tea. You lift it, sip it, and feel the heat spread into your chest. You set the mug down, and soon the warmth fades. The tea grows cold, not by accident, but by law. This simple act it cooling is not random, it's not unlucky, it's not reversible. It is entropy. Entropy is not a thing you can touch, but a tendency you can feel. It's the reason your room grows messy, not tidy. The reason the glass shatters on the floor, but never reassembles in the air. Entropy is a measure of disorder. And disorder, chaos, has a direction. This direction gives time its arrow. You feel it in everything. It's wilting flowers, it's melting snow, in aging skin and fading memories. The future is always more spread out, less ordered than the past. But why? Imagine a box filled with gas. At first, the gas is neatly tucked into one corner, tidy, ordered dot. Then you lift the divider. The gas flows outward, evenly, randomly, filling the box. Now it's disordered. Entropy has increased. Could it go back? Theoretically, yes. Every atom could reverse its motion, reassemble into its cornered home. But the odds are impossibly small, so small, they vanish into the silence of the universe, because the universe favors mess. Not because it's lazy, but because it's probable. There are more ways to be disordered than to be tidy. More ways to scatter than to align. So the universe follows that path. It's the path of greatest likelihood. It's good plus. And that path points forward. Your life moves forward, not because clocks tick, but because entropy rises. You are born. You grow, you age, your cells divide, then slow. Your memories expand, then blur. Each moment holds more complexity, more decay, more history. It feels natural, inevitable, but it is not a mystery of clocks. It is a mystery of entropy. You sleep, then wake. You spill a drawer, then clean it. But to clean it, you add energy. You bend, sort, fold. You pay entropy's price because order requires effort and disorder happens. Entropy explains why we remember the past, but not the future. Why we can drop a cup, but not unbreak it. Why ashes do not become trees again, because there are fewer paths to order, countless paths to chaos. This law, called the second law of thermodynamics, holds steady across all scales, from boiling kettles to burning stars, from falling leaves to collapsing galaxies. All things trend toward equilibrium, toward spread, toward evenness. And this is time's whisper, a one-way breath. Even the stars obey. A star, like our sun, burns bright by fusing hydrogen. Simple atoms merge, releasing light and heat. Over time, the fuel runs low. The core contracts and entropy wins. The star expands, then collapses. A white dwarf, a neutron core, a black hole, dot. Always more disorder, more scattering, less concentrated light. Even galaxies drift apart. Their once closed dance diluted by the expansion of space. Entropy is not evil. It is not decay alone. It is transformation. It is the hum of the cosmos, settling slowly, quietly into rest. It's in your breath. To dot. Each exhale releases warmth, moisture, carbon dioxide. Entropy spreading. Tiny contributions to the grand unfolding. You digest food, extract energy, release heat. Entropy grows. You think? Neurons fire. Energy is used. Entropy grows. Your brain, an engine of thought, is also an engine of disorder. Each memory, each idea carries thermodynamic cost. And so the mind lives forward, because backward is not just unlikely, it's thermodynamically forbidden. If time reversed, so would entropy. You would watch smoke leap back into logs. You would grow younger, speak backward, think in reverse. But no one has seen this. Not in stars, not in snowflakes, not in hearts. We feel time because we feel change. And change leans forward because entropy demands it. Now, picture an old photograph, a moment of stillness, captured order. You see yourself as a child, smiling, bright-eyed, the past intact. But the atoms in your body have all changed since then. The order rearranged. The molecules shifted. You are not the person in the photo. You are what entropy made of them. Even memories, those soft flickers in your mind, fade because of entropy. Neural pathways degrade. Signals blur. Old thoughts dissolve like pages left in rain. And yet, it's a strange comfort here, because without entropy, there would be no stories, no beginning, no end, no change, no learning. A perfectly ordered universe would be still, frozen, empty of time. Entropy allows time to flow, and time gives shape to life. Your cup of tea must cool. Your room must gather dust. Your breath must drift into air, not because you fail, but because the cosmos moves. It breathes, expands, and lets go. You can clean, repair, remember, but always forward, always with gentle resistance. Entropy is not your enemy. It is your companion, a quiet force that turns pages, ends chapters, and starts new ones. Even the stars will one day grow quiet, cold, dark, but before that, they burn, they warm planets, they guide sailors, they make life. Entropy writes poems, not just endings. It gives us time. Time gives us wonder. So as you lie here, still, breathing softly, remember this: the warmth of your body came from a star. The patterns in your mind rose from molecular chaos. You are a masterpiece of increasing entropy, and somewhere in all this unfolding, a thought emerges of time, flows from order to disorder. Why was the universe ever ordered at all? The sky is quiet tonight. Above you, the stars blink gently in the dark, as if they know something you don't. They seem still like a painting, but they are not still. They are drifting. Every night sky you've ever seen is a lie of stillness, because the galaxies, each vast beyond imagining, are moving away. Slowly, softly, but endlessly. This is not a gentle breeze pushing them apart. It's the fabric of space itself expanding beneath their feet. Imagine a loaf of raisin bread rising in the oven. As it grows, the raisins pull away from one another. Not because they're moving on their own, but because the dough itself is stretching. You live in that dough. You are made of raisins. But there's more. This cosmic bread doesn't just stretch space. It stretches time. Time is woven into the fabric of space. They are not separate threads, but a single, shimmering tapestry. So as the universe expands outward, time may lengthen alongside it. The seconds you count now may not be the same kind of seconds counted long ago. In the early universe, everything was hotter, denser, more compressed. Space was crowded, and time ticked faster. Now, with space stretched wide, the ticking slows. Just slightly. It's not something your wristwatch would catch. But the cosmos notices, and astronomers. They listen to the slowness. They observe ancient light, called the cosmic microwave background, the faint echo of the universe's first breath. And it arrives, stretched, softened by distance and time. The light is tired, like a song played too slowly. Its wavelengths lengthen as space stretches beneath it. This is redshift, when light waves get pulled out as space grows. Not because the stars run, but because space runs with them. Galaxies do not rocket away. They are carried, and time, like light, is carried too. You live in a universe where everything once clung together, a tight, brilliant fireball. Then came expansion, the great unfurling, the soft opening of cosmic petals, a teeny, and with that came slipping. Time, the deeper scientists look into space, the further back they see. Telescopes are time machines. To look far is to look into the past, but what they find isn't just old light. It's slow light, dilated time. Events that happened fast back then look slow now, as if the universe holds a remote control and gently presses pause. In this way, time is not fixed. It depends on where and when you are. Your seconds are different from the seconds on a distant galaxy's clock, and that distant galaxy may already be gone. It may have burned its last star billions of years ago, but its light, its past self, still drifts toward you, and you watch its memory as if it were still alive. The further away a galaxy is, the older the light, and the more time has been stretched along its path. It's as if space itself has made a choice to take longer, to whisper instead of shout. But the expansion isn't steady. For a long time, scientists thought The stretching of space might slow down, like a ball thrown upward that starts to fall. They thought gravity, the mutual pull of all matter, would gently rein it in. But in the 1990s, the universe whispered something unexpected. It's not slowing. It's speeding up. The expansion is accelerating. Galaxies aren't just drifting apart. They're fleeing faster and faster, as if pushed by something unseen. This mysterious force, soft but relentless, is called dark energy. And dark energy, whatever it is, may not just stretch space, it may distort time. No one is certain what it means, but some theories suggest that time itself could grow thinner, slower, stranger. Perhaps in the far future, time will stretch so much that whole eras will pass like blinks. Stars will form, live, and die in a breath. Atoms will dance in slow spirals, and consciousness, if it remains, will feel a universe unraveling in molasses. But that's far ahead. For now, you walk on a world that spins gently in an expanding sea. And the time you feel your seconds, your heartbeats, are part of this stretching. You don't feel it, not directly, but you are part of it. Your very being is calibrated to the expansion of the cosmos, the rate at which your heart beats, speed at which your thoughts fire, the curve of your dreams. They unfold in a tempo given shape by the universe's rhythm. The music of time is set by the stage it plays upon, and as that stage expands, the song changes. In some distant galaxy, a planet like Earth may spin, but its seconds may pass just a little differently. Not wrong, just elsewhere, just stretched. There is no master clock in space, no ticking tower of time. There are only relative rhythms, each place, each moment, with its own gentle beat. You are not late. You are not early. You are simply here, in this time, on this expanding stage. When you were born, the universe was slightly smaller. Your first breath was drawn in a tighter cosmos. Now, as you exhale, the space around you is just a touch wider. Invisible, yes, but real. You are living in a breathing universe, and its breath is the expansion of space and the slipping of time. And here's the strangest part. Some galaxies are moving away from you so fast that their light will never reach you. Not because they're too far, but because space itself grows too quickly between you. There's a horizon, a limit, beyond which the universe is lost to you forever. Not in space, in time. And the question emerges, what lies beyond that horizon? What happens where light can't reach, where time may no longer tick? Perhaps that's where time breaks, not with a bang, but with a silence. A place so far, so stretched, that even time loses grip. But you're not there. Not yet. You're here, drifting gently in the known world, carried on a tide of growing space and lengthening seconds. And somewhere in this quiet, a deeper thought rises. If time is slipping beneath your feet, what happens when you reach the edge? The edge. You sit quietly beneath a sky so wide it feels like forever. The stars above you seem eternal, like they have always been there. You imagine that if you could travel far enough, you'd find the edge of it all, a place where the stars stop, where the universe ends in some soft, final curtain. But the truth is stranger than that. There is an edge, but it's not made of stars, or dust, or fire. It's made of light that will never reach you. It's not a wall. It's not a barrier you could touch. It's a horizon, a quiet, vanishing point where time and space outpace your ability to catch them. This is the cosmic horizon, and it's growing quietly, like everything else in the expanding universe. Imagine this. You strike a match in the darkness. Its tiny flame flickers, and the light begins to travel outward. It moves fast, faster than anything else can. But now, imagine that the space around it begins to stretch. The light keeps moving forward, but the road beneath it lengthens faster than it can travel. The light never arrives. The match is still there, still glowing, but its message is lost in the fabric of a universe that moves too quickly. This is what's happening now. All around you, galaxies that once shared the same sky with you are slipping away. Their light is racing toward us. Space itself is running faster. They cross a quiet line in the cosmos, and once they do, no future telescope will ever see them again. They're not behind the curtain. Okay, they are beyond the reach of time. You live inside a visible bubble, surrounded by the light that has managed to arrive. Okay, but beyond that bubble, the universe continues wild, rich, unknowable. The edge of your vision isn't made of darkness. It's made of speed. A speed not of things, but of space itself. And the faster the universe expands, the smaller your window becomes. Once, the galaxies were closer. Their light reached us with ease. But now, like dancers pulled gently off stage, they are retreating, not with a scream, but with a sigh. You might wonder, why can't we just go to them? Why not build a ship, set a course for the edge, and follow the fleeing galaxies? But the truth is, you can never catch them, because the space between you and them is expanding faster than your ship could ever move. Even light, the fastest traveler in the universe, loses the race. This boundary, this horizon, is not fixed. It's not where the universe ends. It's simply where your ability to know it does. Every year, more galaxies cross that line. Every year, your universe grows quieter. The night sky you see now is not a promise. It's a memory. The galaxy, still visible today, will someday vanish not in light, but in time. Even as they shine, their beams are stretched too far. Their signals silenced by distance. There's something humbling in that. You live in a universe where seeing has limits, not because you aren't looking hard enough, but because the fabric of reality has decided not to send the rest. It's like walking through a fog that thickens behind you. Every step forward is also a step into forgetting. Scientists call this the cosmological event horizon. It's the farthest distance from which light emitted now will ever reach you in the future. Everything beyond it is already lost, and still, the universe keeps expanding. Not with sound, not with flames, but with silence. A grand opening that hides more than it reveals. You might feel small hearing this, as if you are trapped in a shrinking window of knowable stars. But remember this, it's not that the universe is pushing you out, it's just that it's moving on. And in a way, you are lucky, because you are living in a time when the sky is still full. You can still see billions of galaxies, will still catch their light, still listen to the story they've been telling for billions of years. Future beings may not be so fortunate. Someday, night sky may hold only silence, no other galaxies, no cosmic landmarks, just a lonely hum of background light in the whisper of their own stars. They will not know that beyond their own corner was once a universe rich and wild and filled with neighbors. They will think they are alone, because the horizon will have erased the rest. Right now, you live at the edge of seeing. Right now, you are cradled in a window of wonder. But wonder is not always enough for understanding, because even now, scientists don't know what happens beyond that unreachable line. Does time still move the same? Does it move at all? If light can't get in, can thought? Can cause an effect? Some theorists suggest that beyond the horizon, events become disconnected from you, not just in space, but in meaning. You can't send a message, can't feel the consequences of what happens there. It's as if those places no longer share a present with you. They have slipped into a different now. In this way, the universe is not one large moment. It's a patchwork of times, keat stitched into its own fate. And the cosmic horizon is where your fate ends. There's a loneliness to that, but also a kind of peace, because within your horizon, you still have time. You still have starlight. You still have the soft rhythm of galaxies speaking across distance. You live in a universe that lets you look backward, almost to the beginning of time, but forward. That's harder, because because time ahead is filtered through this widening lens. You see, what you feel is shaped by the horizon's breadth. Some physicists wonder if the universe keeps accelerating. Will the horizon shrink so much that even your closest neighbors disappear? Will the stars in your sky wink out one by one like candles caught in fog? And if that happens, what will become of your sense of time, of story, of place? Because it's not just galaxies that fade beyond the horizon. It's context. It's connection. It's the idea that you are part of something bigger, but there's comfort in this, too, because right now, you are part of that something. You are living in an age of knowing, of reaching, of catching the last light from stars that may no longer burn. You are watching the horizon even as it retreats, and perhaps it's what makes life in this moment so rare. You get to witness a universe both full and fading, a universe that opens its story just wide enough for you to listen, but not so wide that you ever reach the last page. There's always another galaxy just beyond reach, always another secret hidden behind the horizon. And maybe that's the point, not to arrive, but to drift, to wonder, to feel time bend gently beneath your curiosity, because just beyond what you can see, time itself may begin to tremble. It may not hold steady. It may ripple, loop, or vanish, and what lies on the other side may not be space at all, but something softer, something stranger, something where even clocks forget how to tick, to tick. The sky has grown still. You've traveled outward in your mind, past stars and dark voids, past galaxies and gravitational tides, past everything you can name. Now you're here, not at the edge of space, but at the edge of what you can know. It's quiet here, not because there's nothing, but because language starts to break. You've arrived at a boundary where time may stop being time, where space might twist, and where the rules you trusted begin to stutter like a song losing rhythm. This is the edge, the cosmological cliff. It's a place where the maps go blank and the compasses spin. We call it a horizon, but it's not flat. It's not simple. And it's not just far away in distance. It's far away in experience. Here, at the edge, space stretches so quickly that even light cannot return. Here, your ability to see, to feel, to predict begins to unravel. But what's beyond it? That's the question that curls softly through physics. It keeps scientists awake at night and puts poets into dreams. Some say the universe continues, just the same as it always has, only now out of reach. But others whisper of stranger things, because if space and time are not constants, if they are flexible, changeable, influenced by the energy that surrounds them, then what happens when they are pushed too far? You stand now at the limit of time's smoothness. Back home, seconds march on, each one flowing into the next. But out here, each moment might lose its shape. Time could slow to a crawl or speed up wildly. It might loop, it might split, might fail. Your breath still moves in rhythm. Your heart still ticks, but time around you might be unfolding sideways. Physicists try to simulate this moment, this cosmic border. They write equations that bend and stretch and strain, and those equations begin to wobble. Some grow infinite, some collapse, some contradict themselves, as if reality itself is uncertain about how to behave when pushed too far. There's a term for this: singularity, a place where math fails, where our tools snap, where certainty vanishes. You've heard of singularities before, at the heart of black holes, where time slows and space curves endlessly inward. But this edge of the universe may hold a different kind of singularity, not one caused by collapse, but one born of too much expansion, too much distance, too much stretching of the cosmic fabric until it frays, thins, and lets go. Imagine a rubber sheet painted with dots. You pull it slowly, the dots drift apart, but pulled too fast, too far, and the rubber stretches thin, it becomes transparent. Then it rips. Is that what's happening here? Some cosmologists think yes, that the edge of the visible universe is not just a boundary of light, but a boundary of stability beyond it. Space may behave differently. It's not wildly, not violently, but subtly, like a song changing key without telling you. And if space changes, time changes because they are woven together. Space-time is one fabric. So here, at the edge, time may ripple. It may jitter like candlelight in wind. It may fade in your daily life. If you think of time as a river, smooth, constant, forward-moving. But at this edge, that river might evaporate, become a fog, a suggestion, a possibility, not a rule. And without time, what is memory? What is cause? What is being? This is not fiction. It's not philosophy. It's physics, nudging towards something the equations barely understand. What lies past this cosmic edge might not be part of your universe at all. It could be a pocket where time flows in another direction, or not at all. It could be a place where energy behaves differently, where the building blocks of atoms dance to other rhythms. Some scientists suggest these are bubble universes, entire realities, budding off like soap bubbles from the foam of the cosmic sea, each with its own rules, its own timeline, its own version of before and after. But you can't go there, not because you aren't clever enough, but because time itself separates you. You're stitched into your own timeline, held by your own cosmic fabric. To cross into another one would be like asking a dream to crawl into someone else's sleep. Still, we wonder, because this edge keeps getting closer, not in space, but in meaning. As the universe expands, more of it slips over that edge. More of it becomes untouchable, unknowable, unreachable, and in time, even the laws of physics we trust may begin to bend under the weight of so much unknown. You might ask, how can we study what we can't see? And the answer is, by listening. Listening to the way light slows, the way galaxies stretch, the way cosmic background radiation changes tone like a whisper drifting further from the ear. These are the clues, the echoes, the fingerprints of a universe that is always slightly out of reach. You are not separate from it. Your body is made of atoms that once rode the waves of this expansion. Your thoughts are shaped by a brain that evolved under a sky that is slipping away. You are stitched into this cosmic tapestry, and the thread you follow just happens to end here at the edge, where equations hesitate, where time begins to tremble, where even silence feels like movement. You sit now with the idea that there are places you will never know, places that exist, but not for you. It's a quiet thought, but not a sad one, because even here, at the end of your light, you feel wonder. You feel curiosity stretching across the dark like fingertips, and maybe it's what matters, not what lies beyond the edge, but the fact that you cared enough to reach it with your mind, so you stay, not to cross, but to listen, to rest your awareness against the soft wall of mystery, and beyond that wall, a new kind of time may wait, one that flickers, one that bends, one that forgets how to begin again. You sit quietly in the hush between thoughts, still, patient, listening, not to sound, but to the subtle hum of something deeper beneath the rhythm of your heart. Beneath the breath, you forget you're breathing. Time, not the kind that ticks in hours, but the kind that holds the universe together, threaded into the shape of reality itself. And now, you're going to let yourself fall into it, not forward, but downward, smaller and smaller, like a stone sinking into the quietest part of a lake. This world begins to blur. Atoms, those tiny building blocks of all you know, come into view like gentle ripples. And even they are not still. They quiver, they shimmer, they exist in clouds of maybe, and wrapped around them, woven into their very being, is time. But here, time is different. It doesn't march, doesn't flow like a river. It flickers, it leaps, like a flame caught in a gust of possibility. You've entered the quantum world, and nothing here stays put. You were taught, perhaps, that time is a line, that it moves forward, second by second, like a bead sliding along a string. But down here, in the smallest spaces, the universe allows time begins to look less like a line and more like a series of sparks, not continuous, not smooth, just bursts of maybe, blinks of now, scattered across the emptiness. It is disorienting, but it is true. Physicists have tried to measure time in these scales, the unimaginably small world of Planck time. A moment so brief, it makes a second feel like a century. One Planck time is about 0.00001 seconds. That's 10 seconds, a sliver of existence. So small that our laws of physics start to break apart. Below that threshold, we don't even know if time exists in any meaningful way. It might be broken. It might be meaningless. It might not exist at all. This is where time flickers, where the smooth flow you're used to fractures into jittering pieces, tiny sparks instead of a flame. And you, sitting there, calm and curious, are now watching the very pixels of time. If the universe is a movie, this is the frame rate. These Planck moments are like the shutter clicks of reality, too fast to fail, but always there. And in between, what lies between those flickers? Is it silence? Is it something? Or is it a kind of blank that the universe skips over so you never feel it missing? Some theories suggest that time is not fundamental at all, that it is a product, a byproduct of something deeper, a side effect of change, not a cause. You don't experience time because it exists. You experience it because things are different than they were before. A particle moves, a wave collapses, a thought forms, and you call it time. But maybe, without movement, without change, without contrast, time is not real. Imagine a painting that stretches forever. If every part of it is identical, you cannot say where you are. You cannot say when. Time, in this way, is the art of noticing difference. And in the quantum world, that difference is slippery. Particles don't move cleanly. They exist in probabilities, in fuzzy clouds of potential. One moment, they are here. The next, they might be there. But in between, they are nowhere in particular time to behave like that. In quantum mechanics, you can describe a system in many possible configurations, but you cannot say which one is true until you observe it. So what is time for something unobserved? Does it tick? Does it wait? Oh, does it flicker silently in the background, waiting for a story to step in? It's unsettling to think that the past and future might not be fixed, that beneath the solid surface of your seconds is a liquid layer of maybes, and yet here you are, existing within it, safe, calm, curious. You've lived your whole life on top of this flickering world, never feeling the tremble beneath your feet, but now you feel it, not as fear, but as wonder. You are not a solid object. You are a collection of shifting probabilities. In time, the thing you thought was certain is just as soft. Even the particles in your brain flicker like tiny clocks, not quite synchronized. Some physicists imagine that time itself is emergent, that it arises like heat from friction, like a pattern in the mist. It may not be woven into the universe. It may be an illusion crafted by perspective, a story your brain tells to make sense of change. In this view, you are not flowing through time. You are assembling it, frame by frame, memory by memory, emotion by emotion. The universe is not moving forward. You are stitching forwardness into it. It's a delicate thought, one that leaves you floating like a feather in a breeze of uncertainty. But it also brings a strange kind of peace, because if time is not fixed, if it flickers and dances and rearranges, then maybe nothing is final. Maybe every choice, every breath, every moment you think is gone still exists, tucked inside a quiet probability wave. And perhaps, there is comfort in knowing that beneath the smooth surface of your life is a foundation that shimmers, that at the smallest levels, everything is possible. And time is not a wall, but a curtain that flutters slightly in the wind. As you rise slowly from this meditation, you take that softness with you. The idea that time does not tick like a clock, but pulses like breath. It pauses, skips, and folds, just like thought. And most of all, that even the firmest parts of reality are built on something gentle, something flickering, something like a dream. So you exhale, knowing the flicker of time still holds you gently, and ahead, beyond the edges of even this tiny scale, are stranger places still, where time may not just flicker, but fail to exist at all, at all. You are lying still now, floating gently in the rhythm of your own breath. Each inhale, a slow tide rising. Each exhale, a soft tide falling, And around you, time feels calm, obedient, a gentle stream flowing in one direction, but the deeper you drift into the fabric of the universe, the more that stream begins to misbehave. There are places not far in imagination, though light years away in space, where time forgets how to behave, where the clock stutters, stops, and sometimes breaks. Close your eyes and fall into one of those places. It's quiet, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is strange. Welcome to the fractures, to the folds, the seams, the places where the universe lets its edges show, where space might twist and time might lose its direction altogether. Let's begin with the ribbon, a cosmic string, thinner than an atom, but stretching across galaxies. Imagine it slicing through space like a blade of compressed gravity. Theoretically, if you walked a loop around this string, your sense of time would shift. It might be slightly off from someone who stayed behind, not because you moved quickly, but because space itself was distorted. Cosmic strings may not exist, tease remnants of early universe theories, but the math allows them, and if they are out there, it could act like scars across the universe, fault lines in time, time bent around their edges, not broken, but warped. Now go deeper, rove beyond strings into something wilder called wormholes. These are tunnels through space and time, predicted by the equations of general relativity. Picture two distant points in the universe, a star a billion light years away, in your bedroom, here now. A wormhole connects them like a shortcut, not by traveling through space, but by folding it, like touching the ends of a paper together. So two distant dots overlap. If wormholes exist, and some believe they do, buried in the math, then time itself could loop within them. One end might exist in the year 5000, the other in 2025's. Step through, and time becomes a circle. But circles come with paradoxes. If you can go back, can you change what you left behind? Could you erase your own footsteps? Or are you simply tracing a path that was always there? Physics doesn't answer clearly. Some equations say yes, others collapse into silence. And in that silence, time may twist into impossible knots. Now descend. Further still, imagine a dying star, collapsing inward, its gravity so intense that not even light can escape. This is a black hole, but you've been here before. Now, imagine something even more extreme. A black hole not just rotating, but collapsing under such specific conditions that it tears a hole in causality. A naked singularity, the heart of a black hole, exposed to the universe. In theory, this place could allow time to loop infinitely. Moments could double back, replay, exist beside themselves in a kind of eternal glitch. Physics trembles here. Math becomes unstable. Time doesn't die, just refuses to behave. You are no longer in the universe with past, present, and future. You are in a place where all three might happen at once. A. It's a landscape where time is not an arrow, but a shattered mirror. Let yourself drift further to the outer edge of understanding. Imagine a region of space so unstable, so filled with raw, untamed energy, that even the vacuum to nothing is something else. This is called a false vacuum. Our universe may exist in one. It's now a kind of energy valley. Stable for now, but not the lowest possible. If somewhere, another region of the universe finds a deeper valley, a more stable vacuum, this could expand outward at the speed of light. A vacuum decay. It wouldn't just destroy matter. It would rewrite the very laws of physics, including time. In an instant, our understanding of past and future would dissolve. There would be no warning, no sensation, just a change. Time, as you know it, would be replaced by something beyond imagination. And yet, this terrifying idea is wrapped in quiet possibility. It may never happen, but the equations suggest it could. And so, even now, you are floating in a universe that might contain the seeds of its own transformation, not by fire or ice, but by a rearrangement of time itself. Now return, float upward again, drift from singularities and wormholes, from quantum scars and unstable fields, and find yourself gently in the comfort of the present, your breath still rising and falling, your pulse still ticking gently onward. But now, carry a strange awareness that time is not as stable as it pretends to be, and you begin to wonder, are there places even closer? Not in space, but in nature, where time begins to show its edges. Some scientists think time might behave differently inside certain materials, that in superconductors or in exotic matter, you might find loops of cause and effect, places where time doubles back on itself. Others suggest that deep within certain crystals, arranged with perfect, repeating symmetry, you can create a time crystal, a system that repeats not just in space, but in time. A structure where motion continues without energy input, a kind of clock that doesn't tick, but hums. If these time crystals are real, and experiments suggest they are, then we may have already touched the beginning of a new kind of time, one that doesn't move forward or backward, but simply exists in repeating patterns. You might be holding such a material one day. A ring, a chip, a memory device etched with the rhythm of a time that doesn't flow at all. And then what? What would it mean to live in a world where time isn't guaranteed? Where each room, each object, each decision might carry its own version of time, where your steps might be slow, but the walls might move faster, where thought and memory and light no longer agree on what now means. In such a world, your sense of self would change. Your awareness would stretch. Your presence would deepen, and time would become less like a chain and more like a garden. Moments sprouting up beside one another. Not behind, not ahead, just blooming everywhere. And so, as you drift again into rest, you carry this idea that time may not be a river. It may be a cloud, lattice, a whisper dot, and in its quietest corners, there are places where it might simply vanish, leaving only stillness, leaving only the next breath. And in that breath, you begin to feel a question for me: what if we are already losing time? At all, at once, but quietly, gently, as the universe continues to change beneath us. You rest, still and quiet, as if time itself has curled up beside you. There is no ticking here, no clock on the wall, just the slow rhythm of your body, the hush of breath in the dark. But the question arrives, gently like fog. What if time is not what you think? What if the steady flow you rely on is already fraying, already shifting, and you are drifting on a river that's changing shape beneath you? It begins with a strange idea, not from myth or poetry, but from physics, that now is local dot, that the present moment you feel might not be shared across the cosmos. Even your now might be different from someone else's, someone far away, moving differently, or resting in a different gravitational field. And if now is only a local arrangement, pocket of order in a universe of chaos, then time itself is not as steady as you imagine. This is more than theory. This is relativity. Time can dilate, compress, bend. Two twins can age differently. Two clocks can disagree. From the past may look different depending on your speed or direction. So what, then, is slipping? Maybe it's not time itself, but your grip on it. The calendar says the same thing to all, but your cells, your thoughts, your perception, they tell a different story. You've felt it before. Some hours stretch like oceans. Others vanish like breath on glass. A summer day in childhood lasts forever. A year in adulthood passes like a dream. This isn't just memory playing tricks. It's your neurology, your biology, your internal timekeeping systems quietly recalibrating. As the world turns, as you age, your brain's way of processing time shifts. The more routine your days, the faster they appear to pass. Novelty stretches perception. Repetition compresses it. So even now, in this very moment, you might be losing time, not because it's gone, but because your mind no longer registers its fullness. And yet, the mystery deepens, because time might be fading, not just in perception, but in the very structure of the universe. Imagine again, expanding cosmos, galaxies, drifting apart at faster and faster speeds. Dark energy, gently accelerating the distance between every cluster of stars. And in this expansion, space stretches, but not just space. Time stretches, too, like a rubber sheet being pulled. The intervals between events grow longer. The future becomes more spacious. The rhythm of causality more diffuse. Some physicists believe this means time is slowing down on a cosmic scale. Not for you, here in your body, but for the universe as a whole. The ticking of time is tied to the heartbeat of the cosmos. And that heartbeat may be weakening. Entropy grows. Energy spreads. The heat of stars dissipates into the cold between galaxies. The universe, like an old clock, may be winding down. And when energy is too thin to support complexity, when nothing new can happen, what is time, then? If change is the measure of time, then stillness is its end. You might not notice when it happens. It won't come with a sound, or a crash, or even an event. It will come with silence, a universe too stretched, too quiet, too uniform to mark one moment from the next. You are not there yet, but some say you are on the way. Each second longer than the last. Each cosmic breath a little shallower, and here you lie, breathing slowly. A world that feels the same, but underneath, perhaps, the gears of time are grinding more gently. And so, the question returns. Not in theory, not in cosmic metaphors, but right here. Are you losing time now? Not in the universe, but in your day, in your mind. In the way you move through life, your attention is the lens that lets time appear. And when you stop noticing, moments slide past like unmarked pages. A morning spent scrolling, an afternoon lost in distraction, a conversation half-dash heard, gone, like vapor. And when you look back, you don't see missing time. You see nothing at all, because to the brain, what was never fully noticed was never fully lived. And so it disappears. But there is another way to slow time. Not by physics, but by attention. To taste your tea instead of drinking it quickly. 2. Feel the texture of light on your skin. To speak and really hear the reply. These are not metaphors, art. They are neurological truths. Attention stretches time. Its presence deepens it. Awareness protects it from slipping away. And so, in a sense, you lose time not because of entropy, or black holes, or dark energy, but because of habit. Because the mind prefers efficiency. Because the body grows used to routine. And because the present moment is so quiet, so small, that it's easy to look past. But you are not past it. Now, you are inside it, breathing, resting, noticing the warmth of your blanket, the rhythm of your chest, the silence of the room around you. And in this noticing, you anchor yourself. You rescue a moment from vanishing. You hold time in your palm, gently and still. The thought lingers. What if, beyond perception, beyond expansion, beyond decay, time itself is breaking down, not ending, but dissolving? It's becoming harder to define. Less like a line, more like a cloud, more like a fog you drift through without a map. And what would remain then, if time faded? If it became useless, what would still matter? What would you still feel? Your body, still breathing. Your heart, still feeling. Your memories, still echoing in the folds of your brain. Time may stretch, time may break, but experience, your moment-to-moment awareness, is what remains. Even when seconds falter, its presence is solid. It is not measured in clocks. It is felt in closeness, in touch, in thought. And so you float now, not afraid, but open, knowing that time, whatever it is not always yours to hold. But this moment is. And even as you wonder, even as the next chapter waits, you drift gently toward it, asking not, what is time? But something simpler. If time fails, what remains? You lie beneath a quiet ceiling of stars, and though clocks still tick somewhere, they no longer feel important, because here, in this moment, there are no schedules, no before or after, only now. And you begin to ask, not what time it is, but whether time even matters at all. In every story, time is the invisible frame. It holds the shape of your days. It weaves your memories into order. It guides you from youth to age, from sunrise to sleep. But if that frame began to blur, if the hands of the cosmic clock slowed to a crawl, or disappeared entirely, what would fall apart, and what would stay? This is not only imagination. Some physicists believe time is not fundamental, that underneath all the ticking, beneath entropy and gravity and even light, there is something deeper, a timeless truth, a canvas without a clock. Time might be a convenience, a useful illusion, a way for minds like yours to make sense of change. And so the question becomes not just, what is time, but rather, what are you without it? Strip away the hours and minutes, remove the calendar, the deadlines, the slow parade of years. What remains? You do the version of you that does not rush, the one that notices. You remain as breath, as rhythm, as awareness moving softly through whatever comes next. You are not bound to the seconds on a watch. You are shaped by tides more ancient, the pulse of starlight, the arc of seasons, the bloom and fading of memory. Imagine now a place where time no longer works. No sunrise, no sunset, no ticking clocks, no growing older, just presence. You walk across it slowly. Your shadow never moves. Your heartbeat is the only rhythm. It is not frightening. It is soft, like a held breath, like a lullaby that never ends. In this place, language grows quiet. Thoughts become still water. You are no longer counting. You are simply being. This is what some scientists call a timeless state. It may exist at the edges of black holes or before the birth of the universe. It may be the hum beneath quantum fields, where moments dissolve into probabilities and possibility. In such a state, you could not age. You could not measure, but you might still exist. As pattern, as potential, as a wave not yet collapsed. And strangely comfortingly, this idea echoes something old. Mystics, long before physics, spoke of eternity not as a length of time, but as the absence of it. They spoke of presence, of being outside time, as the truest kind of awareness. No urgency, no decay. It's just stillness that listens. And so, again, you wonder, if the clock breaks, do you break with it? Or do you return to something more fundamental? Maybe what remains is not your calendar, but your capacity for connection, your ability to feel joy, to sit in silence, to love without expecting anything to last. These are not time-bound things. They are not stored in hours. They live in the folds of the present. Think of a moment you remember clearly, not because it was long, but because you were fully inside it. A first snowfall, a voice you loved, a moment of laughter in candlelight. That memory does not stretch across minutes. It is a single impression, lives outside a sequence, in the deeper part of you. So what remains if time fades? Meaning, the way you made someone feel, the shape of your kindness, the echoes of your presence, and the lives you've touched. Those aren't measured in seconds. They linger, even after time lets go. And in the physics of it all, beneath the equations, beneath the theories and measurements, there is something humbling. We don't know if time is forever. We don't know if it had a true beginning. If it will gently dissolve into silence. But we do know this. You are here, now, and that, somehow, is enough. The stars do not rush. The moon does not count its orbits. Even your breath does not know the hour. And in that forgetting, in that unmeasured moment, you find something rare, a stillness that doesn't require anything. Not progress, not achievement, not even understanding, just presence. And this is perhaps what remains when time no longer does. Not a timeline, not a record, but a trace, a shape left in the world by how gently you moved through it. Like footprints in sand, the tide has not reached yet, or the warmth of a hand lifted from your shoulder. These are not counted, they are felt. And so, in the end, if time itself unravels, if the seconds no longer line up, causality loses its thread, you do not vanish. You remain as sensation, as memory, as energy shaped by awareness. You remain in the way a song lingers. After the last note, you remain because presence does not need a clock. It just needs you. And in this moment, with stars outside your window and the hush of sleep settling in, you let go of counting. You let go of before and after. You let go of needing to understand it. You just listen. And somewhere in the stillness, beyond questions and concepts, you discover the truth you would never really missing, that even if time fails, something quieter remains.